From our grandparents, we learned that love is never forced. It never deprives others of their interior freedom. That is the way Joachim and Anne loved Mary and Jesus. And that is how Mary loved Jesus, with a love that never smothered him or held him back, but accompanied him in embracing the mission for which he had come into the world. Let us try to learn this as individuals and as a church. May we learn never to pressure the consciences of others, never to restrict the freedom of those around us, and above all, never to fail in loving and respecting those who preceded us and are entrusted to our care, asking ourselves, when faced with daily choices, what the wisest of the elders we have known would do in our place. What advice our grandparents and great-grandparents would have given us. So, dear brothers and sisters, let us ask ourselves, are we children and grandchildren capable of safeguarding this treasure that we have inherited? Do we remember the good teachings we have received? Do we talk to our elders and take time to listen to them? And in our increasingly well-equipped, modern, and functional homes, do we know how to set aside a worthy space for preserving their memory, a special place, a small family memorial, which, through precious pictures and objects, allows us to remember in prayer those who went before us? Let us now think of the second important thing. In addition to being children of a history that needs to be preserved, we are authors of a history yet to be written. Each of us can recognize ourselves for who and what we are, marked by both light and shadows, and by the love that we did or did not receive. This is the mystery of human life. We are all someone's children, begotten and shaped by another. But as we become adults, we too are called to give life, to be a father, mother, or grandparent to someone else. Thinking about the people we are today, what do we want to do with ourselves? The grandparents who went before us, the elderly who had dreams and hopes for us, and made great sacrifices for us, ask us an essential question. What kind of a society do you want to build? We received so much from the hands of those who preceded us. What do we, in turn, want to bequeath to those who come after us? Rosewater faith or a living faith? A society founded on personal profit or on fraternity? A world at war or a world at peace? A devastated creation or a home that continues to be welcoming? We need to be careful lest we fall into a caricature of tradition, which is not vertical, from roots to fruits, but horizontal, forwards and backwards. Tradition conceived in this way only leads us to a kind of backwards culture, a refuge of self-centeredness, which simply pigeonholes the present, trapping it within the mentality that says we've always done it this way. May Joachim and Anne intercede for us. May they help us to cherish the history that gave us life, and for our part to build a life-giving history. May they remind us of our spiritual duty to honor our grandparents and our elders, to treasure their presence among us in order to create a better future. A future in which the elderly are not cast aside because, from a practical standpoint, they are no longer useful. A future that does not judge the value of people simply by what they can produce. A future that is not indifferent to the need of the age to be cared for and listened to. A future in which the history of violence and marginalization suffered by our indigenous brothers and sisters is never repeated.
Young and old, grandparents and grandchildren, all together, let us move forward together, and together, let us dream. And let us not forget Paul's advice to his disciple Timothy. Remember your mother and your grandmother.
Prayer is that by your very presence among us, the shadow of St. Peter will fall upon our country and bring the grace of God's healing and peace. Much remains to be accomplished if we are to experience in a lasting way the reconciliation we all seek. From the love and encouragement visibly manifest in your presence, we have received a new impetus to continue the journey.